might say go use drugs, but the 51% is saying don't. And I'm going with the 51%. I will always be in recovery every day of my life, but that's keeping myself in check.
That is Ryan Terrio of West Newfield, Maine. He's certainly kept himself in check now, more than 6 months sober since the last time we talked with him. We shared Ryan's story with you in November, a story that's an example that if you put your mind to recovery, it is possible. As WM2W News 8's Steve Minnick shows us, Andrew Kazoulis, who you met earlier, is also in long-term recovery and breaking the stigma surrounding drug use.
Yes, I've recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body. I was very physically addicted to opiates and drugs.
Sober now for nearly 4 years. Andrew Kazoulis could be the poster child for that one person you might never have guessed to become hopelessly addicted.
I was, two-time all-star lacrosse player, team captain, all-star football player. I did well in school.
On his way to play college ball, one day Andrew happened to injure his back at work. Legally prescribed pain pills, but that's how it all began.
When I found opiates and a supply of them, it took over very quickly.
But as quickly as they came, those prescription pills disappeared. The doctors cut off his supply. However, by then, he was already hooked.
This is certainly not a drug problem. This is an addiction problem.
An addiction that soon led to heroin, cheaper and easier to find. For more than 3 years, Andrew would inject himself up to 12 times a day.
I knew the heroin would make me feel better, and so I did it.
But luckily for Andrew, his family never left his side, eventually getting him to rehab at a cost of some $6,000. But Andrew believes it probably saved his life.
And I see a lot of people who don't have that support, they don't have those resources, and it's a near-death sentence.
Back on his feet, Andrew finally started college, a chemistry student at the University of Southern Maine. However, within months of finishing rehabilitation, he discovered his roommate dead of an apparent heroin overdose. A gut-wrenching reminder of why it's important to stay clean.
So not only have I seen, but also felt. And that's something that I certainly relive daily.
Andrew back with us, with Gina, taking a sip of her water. It's been a long night. And Dr. Springle. Andrew, you and I have had a lot of conversations about language, and you want to be referred as in long-term recovery. We want to use terms like substance use disorder. Can you talk a little bit about why words are so important?
A brief existential tangent. Words are kin of our thoughts. Our thoughts come from our brains. Our brains are literally creating this reality that we exist in. And ideas are far, far more deadly than any drug on this planet. When I internally hate myself, which is what a lot of my active substance use disorder looked like, was just me internalizing and punishing myself and saying, why can't I just not feel this way? Why can't I just get my act together? Why? I can't even do these simple things that people are telling me. It just seems so easy. Why can't I do these things? And just turning that inwards and hating myself. And so now when I talk about where I'm at, it is I'm a person in long-term recovery, and it's a commitment that, I'm going to stay in this. And it's a reminder that I can ask for help, and that it's okay to ask for help, and that this is a human condition that a lot of people live with.
And both of you are success stories who are living in long-term recovery, and show that it is possible. It is possible to recover. It is possible to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I mean, we had a conversation I will never forget when you told me, how am I sane if I'm injecting myself with a needle every day?
Right.
And that's when it clicked for me as a journalist that this is a sickness. Is that something that you two would agree with?
That substance use disorder is a sickness? Absolutely. Absolutely.
We look at substance use disorders, addictions as a chronic brain disease that's multifactorial, has many different dimensions. The brain circuits are faulty. And they don't start that way, but they develop that way over a period of time from exposure to drugs, genetic predisposition, environmental factors, and other things. And so when we look at recovery from this chronic brain disease, we have to look at really a multidimensional approach. As stated in an earlier panel, one size does not fit all. Recovery does not look the same for every person. Even how we as a society and how our government and medical community measures recovery and the factors that we use, even that has not been standardized until very recently. So we don't have a good body of knowledge for our evidence-based treatment to really understand what are the best methods. We do know that that culture plays an important role. We do know that communities, home, health, having a purpose, and also the support of a social network are all vital parts of the recovery process.
And it's not just heroin or opioids. People are addicted to alcohol and food and many other things. We're sticking on that topic. What would you guys say to people watching this who don't feel like there's hope out there?
Well, I probably wouldn't say it. What I had to say to them. It is absolutely possible. And I think every single person that is struggling with substance use disorder is worth it. And that's one of the biggest things that I needed to hear when I got into recovery, is that I was worth it and I could do it. I needed that hope. I needed someone to believe, because I didn't know how.
And you did do it. Do you find that every day is a struggle? Do you still think about it? Or
Absolutely
no?
not.
Yeah.
My life today, I couldn't have dreamt what it looks like today from what it looked like when I was actively using.
I would totally agree. Life can be a four-letter word. I mean, it is actually a four-letter word, but
a different one.
Yeah, I have great days. I have months where I don't think about using at all. I have some days where I need to really work a program, and having support, having people who again are saying to me, Andrew, you can do this. Andrew, you're in this. This is possible, and having the community together, a network to carry us all. Often I'm
an educated community that knows what to look for, and I think that's what this whole roller coaster that we've sort of been through the past year is all about. Well, I appreciate the three of you for being here tonight. We're back in 2 minutes with some final thoughts.